Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the disturbing website Iceberg. This is episode 2 and we are going to be going over tier 3. Before I start, I just want to say thank you for the support in the last video. It has like 600 views, which is just insane, so thank you so much. And also thank you to everyone in the comments that told me anything about the ones I missed, and also the Screamer wiki, which helped so much doing research for this tier, so thank you guys. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, before I start on tier 3, I'm going to go over the ones that I missed. The first one, 10 million subscribers, was actually by Smosh. And I've watched this video, but I didn't think that it would be on this list. Basically, it's just a thank you for 10 million subscribers, and then there's like a jump scare, basically. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's in tier 1, I think, so not too bad. Next one I missed was called What's Wrong, and this was basically a sort of spot the difference, I believe, and then there would be this photo, and it's basically a bait to try and get you to put your head close to the screen, and then it would jump scare you. Ghosts Caught on Tape was this YouTube video uploaded in 2006. Once I did a bit of research on this, I recognized it instantly. I'd seen this video before, but it was so broad that I thought it just meant all ghosts in general, but no, it was referring to this video here. And the last one that I didn't know is called Black Licorice, and this was a game by Nickelodeon, sort of like a Halloween one, and it was just like a trick or treat one. And I think if you gave them the licorice instead of the normal sweets, then there would be a jump scare. And it also, it got multiple complaints from parents, so I'm pretty sure they had to remove it because of that. Okay, the only one I missed was called How to Go to Hell, and I've done even more research and I still have no idea what it is. So, if anyone does know, leave it in the comments below. If not, I'll just leave it out. It's only tier 2, so it's probably not even that bad. Can't be that well known because I didn't see any comments about it either, but now that I've cleared up the rest of tier 1 and 2, let's get straight into tier 3. Okay, the first one is called Mr. Hands, also known as Two Guys and One Horse, and it is a shock video that was made on the 2nd of July in 2005. If you haven't seen this video before, which is very unlikely, it's a very well known one, basically, he does stuff with a horse that you shouldn't do, and the person later died because of what he did. So, yeah. In 2007, there was a documentary that was made under the name Zoo, and it also won a few awards at a film festival, I believe. It's based off of the life of Kenneth Pinion, who was the person in the video. The film was originally titled In the Forest There Is Every Kind of Bird, but it was released under the title Zoo, which was short for zoophile, signifying a person with a sexual interest in animals. However, I have something else to add. The other person who was named in the video, who was called James Michael Tate, he moved to Tennessee on a farm, and on October 13th, 2009, a woman associated with them, Christy D. Morris, was arrested and charged with 3 counts of animal cruelty. And I'm sure that you can gather from that what they were doing on the farm was what they were doing back in 2005, which was not good. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they were running sort of like an underground ring online or something, selling videos and things, and people paid to come up and do things with the animals. I don't know, I didn't really want to get too into it as it's quite disgusting, but yeah, that's basically what happened. This next one is called Agorio, not Agario, Agor.io, and it was basically to trick people who misspelt it and things like that to go on the website where they would be greeted by Jeff the Killer. And alongside Jeff the Killer would be a lot of just random text, and apparently that it would just sort of mess around with your computer, you know, it wouldn't let you shut the page, you have to go into like Task Manager and all that. However, there was something to come out of this where an epileptic person did actually stumble across the site who was 9 at the time, and I'm not sure if they did have a fit or not, but I know that the mother did try to sue the person who made the site. And while I was researching this, I came across this image, and I thought it was quite funny, so I am going to put it in the video. This next one was a bit before my time. I had to do some research on this because I hadn't heard of it, but it was a website where you would play flash games and things like that. but it also had a few sort of screamer ones, like jump scare sort of things. And I'm pretty sure it was popular because you'd like get your friends to react to them and things like that. And I found a few YouTube videos from like 2008 of people reacting to them. And as a recurring theme, most of the screamers ended with a screen saying, "You've been sabotaged," and a logo with a ninja's face, while a jingle played in the background. The webpage is no longer available since 2016, however, it was brought back in 2020, but none of the sabotages, screamers, jump scares things remained. This next one I found very interesting, and it was very long as well, so I'm gonna have to cut this down a bit short. If you like what I'm about to tell you, then put in the comments below if you do want a full video on this, because I could definitely make like a half hour, 40-minute video on this. It was just really interesting. Basically, it's just a Japanese screamer website. It's also called Fantasy Island, and it's sort of starts being cute and normal, things like that. But then when you click the logo, things start to change. The site, strangely, contains an actual story, and when the player goes deeply into it, they will fight a final boss and finally complete the game. It consists of a lot of puzzles, mazes, and a lot of different sort of jump scares on the website, which are totally unexpected. The game's actual story is about heavy themes like paranoia, suicidal thoughts, and depression, and apparently the purpose of this game is to actually depress the player, or just a normal, typical horror game. Even if the site has lots of screamers, it can also be considered a horror puzzle game, since every part of the site has a puzzle. This is why this one interested me so much, because it isn't just like a normal screamer just for like a cheap jump scare. It actually had a story to it, so let me know if you do want a full video on this in the comments below. Okay, these next two ones are both by the same person, who is called Luca Magnotta. And I don't really want to go too much into this because there is actually a Netflix documentary on this that I watched like last year. The Netflix documentary doesn't go over all the gory details and things like that. It's mainly about how they caught them. So if you're going there just for the details, you go to the wrong place. But basically, he was animal murderer and an actual murderer, and he recorded a lot of these acts. The video is called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, and it is where he chains a foreign exchange student who was from China at the time down on a bed and kills him and does stuff with his body that you shouldn't do. He was arrested in 2012 and he got charged with first-degree murder. But it doesn't stop here. He was also responsible for killing kittens and things. He put some in a vacuum bag and vacuum sealed it so that they suffocated, and also fed some to live snakes. As I said, I didn't really want to go too much into this, as this was like a very real problem, and it was like national news, things like that, so it's already been covered like everywhere. But if you want to know how they caught them, which was actually really interesting, it was better than I thought, there is a documentary on Netflix. But yeah, that's basically all I want to, and all I am going to say on this. Next one is called Kikia, and this was one of the first screamers created. It was created in early 2002. It's a cartoon that begins with a stick figure boy sitting on a lawn looking at the sky, and then two lines of Chinese text appears, which translate to, "How long haven't you? Take a look at the sky and daydreamed." The view then changes and shows the boy walking down a city street lined with buildings with two more lines of text translating to, "Walking down the street, I saw." Then a flashing screenshot of an enemy ghost from the video game Fatal Frame with white eyes pops up along with a loud scream. After the screamer, the yellow text Kikia appears. Here we have another classic, One Guy and One Jar. And this was a shock video made in 2008 by a person called Alexei Tatarov. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Basically, what happens is Jar goes into the place where it shouldn't go. Then this happens. And if you don't know what I was talking about, hopefully this screenshot from the video can boost your imagination into what happens. Basically, there's some rumors where he died, but he didn't actually die. He actually went to work straight after, I believe. If you want to know more on the history, Wang, I like his videos. He did a good video on him, and he actually covered an interview that the person had with someone. So if you want to know the history of this absolute classic, then head over to his channel. I'll leave a link in the description. This next one is called Offended, and it's very similar to something called Run the Gauntlet, which I believe is in the next tier. Basically, it's an endurance test, but I believe Run the Gauntlet is a lot worse than this one. I don't know, I'd never heard of Offended before this. But basically, it gives you the option every picture, if you're offended, to leave the page. And it starts off with pictures like this. And then they gradually get worse. You know, they start going into things that aren't alive anymore, and other sort of shock videos, including One Lunatic, One Iceberg, which was mentioned earlier, and also a lot of the ones which are going to be lower down on this list. I believe the reason it's this high, even though it features things from down the iceberg, is mainly because of the animals that it shows in the layers before it. This one is quite a recent one. It is the fake fan cams that were targeted towards BTS stans, I guess you would call them. Basically, a fan cam is a video of them performing live, I believe. But basically, people would pretend to be K-pop stans and they'd post pictures and videos, but then it would like cut away to gore or things. These girls are very young, so obviously it disturbed them a lot. Some of them were okay, it was just like a cheap jump scare, but some of them took it way too far. I know that if I was their age and I saw like a big time rush one, I would be very scared and I wouldn't like it. A lot of the accounts that posted these things did get banned. It was mainly on Twitter, so it's sort of all sort of vanished now. You don't see it, I don't think anymore. But yeah, that was sort of a big thing back in May. Okay, this next one was originally uploaded on YouTube, and it was at first just the song from this game here, but then it had two options, yes and no, which were written in Russian. If you clicked yes, it led you to another picture of a screaming baby with Harlequin disease, I believe it's called, and then the hand slowly moves to the no option. Then once it gets there, the Russian words appear, the game is over, I believe. I'm not sure if that explanation was entirely correct, as it was in a different language, but that's what I gathered from. The video was soon deleted because I'm pretty sure that this was uploaded to one of like the official game developers' YouTube accounts. And when asked why he did it, his response was, because I am damn good, apparently. Again, I'm not sure if this is all, if I'm just interpreting this wrong, but this is what I got from it. Anyway, after he was kicked out of the group, it was uploaded, deleted, re-uploaded, things like that for a while, until it is now completely gone, I believe. If you don't know what Harlequin is, here is a quick sort of picture describing what it is. And I first knew about this has nothing to do with it, but I just thought I'd let you know, in the short Mortal Kombat Retribution, I think it's called, it's a short 2010 like short film on YouTube that I used to watch. The reptile has it, which is where your skin is like inside out. I don't know, I just thought that was interesting because that's how I heard of it first. This next one is called the Pain series, and this is the only image that I could find on the Screamer Wiki and on Google, so this is what you're gonna have to look out for a bit now. It's a shock web page which was created by a user called Huge Midget, and it was created between 2011 and 2013. Basically, the Pain series contains 7 images involving a lot of not nice stuff that's happening to animals and people, as well as diseases, accidents, things like that. If you want an in-depth description on what all of the stages were, I will leave a link to the Screamer wiki page in the description, but I don't really feel like covering it, and I also couldn't find much else on it, so... This next one is SCP-450, and if you know what an SCP is, well then, they're basically just, it's sort of like creepypasta, and it's sort of this whole foundation of extraterrestrial beings, monsters, things like that. This one is, by the looks of it, an alley. I didn't actually read what it is, but basically what the iceberg was referring to was this video on YouTube where it shows this and then a jump scare happens. When I first watched it, I thought it was pretty funny actually, so I'm going to show some of the photos that it showed and you can laugh with it, hopefully, and not get scared. You shouldn't get scared. It starts off with a kitten, and that's sort of a fake out, and then it goes into a sort of rolling credits saying thank you for watching, and then it just flashes a bunch of scary images, I guess. And I found this one particularly funny. This is another really famous one. This came out in 2008, and if I show you this image of an eel, and then show you this image of some soup, you should know what I'm talking about. Basically, eels go into a place and then they get shot out. Quite funny when you say it like that, but not when you watch it. I'm assuming that most people have either watched or heard of this one. It is very popular, so I'm not gonna feel the need to go into it. Actually, you know what I will? She shits out eels. And with that, that is the end of tier 3. I hope you enjoyed this video. They are actually a lot of fun to make. Even though I have to research some things that I would rather not research, they are still very fun to make. But if you do want to know what is at the bottom of the tier, because I do know most of them, I have done a lot of research in advance for the ones I didn't know, and they get quite bad, so stick around for that. Obviously, episodes weekly, I have 2 going at the minute. I have the music one and this one. Thank you so much for the support on the last video. It was just insane to see it go that quick. But anyway, leave a like if you liked it. If you have anything to add, actually, to any of these, leave it in the comments below. As normal, Reddit thread in the description. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video and stay spooky.